You've just heard Reverend Sharpton say Mayor Bill de Blasio of New York City will win a second term because, quote, he deserves it. Let's bring in our panel to weigh in tonight. Scott Levinson, president of the Advance Group. Joining me now also to explain, Mark Furnish, a professor at Brooklyn Law School who was argued before the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, we're going to save what happened, the big victory for President Obama on Obamacare, into the next segment. You have both watched Mr. Sharpton. He has allies, he has critics. Notice I pointed to you on the ally side and you on the critic side. Let's start with you, Scott. What did you think about the interview?
Frankly, I'm amazed at the lack of outrage in that interview. As passionate as Reverend Sharpton was, the visceral objection to the fact that we live in two countries, to the fact that we're discussing in 2015 America whether we should have an end to racism. I have an intern who works in my office, Dominic, who's from Tennessee. And he talked about wanting to run for office, but he told me he can't run in Tennessee. Why can't he run in Tennessee? He said, Scott, every other house has a Confederate flag. Where is the outrage from the average American citizen that 150 years after the Civil War, 150 years after the Civil War, the symbol of racism, the symbol of slavery, the symbol of treason, is still culturally acceptable in towns and cities, and towns, excuse me, in towns of cities throughout the United States. And if you don't recognize that symbols actually affect behavior, and symbols actually matter to people. So when you're in a city, you interrupted me. So the fact is, you interrupted me. So the fact is, if you don't recognize that in cities and towns throughout the United States, the symbol of racism makes the people who are affected,
as a grandchild of Holocaust survivors, I don't recognize the power of symbols.
You know what? You cannot. You know what? A Holocaust survivor? In Germany, we don't allow the Nazi symbols. In Germany, they're not allowed to show the Nazi symbols.
In Germany,
so if you recognize that, why don't you recognize it in this country?
In Germany,
why don't you recognize it in this country?
In Germany, sir, there's no such thing as a First Amendment. You're aware of that, right?
What does that have to do with the symbols of racism? What does that have to do with the symbols of racism?
Sir,
so you want to protect people's right to have the Confederate flag?
Yes, people's right.
You justify that.
Absolutely, I want to protect people's right to have a flag. I don't believe that the flag should fly on an official government building.
What about the cultural outrage from people like you?
I'm not culturally outraged. In fact, I think the hyperbole that comes from the left.
Why aren't you culturally
I'm going to
outraged?
explain it to you if you will let me complete a sentence.
Tell us why you don't think it's a symbol of racism.
The extreme hyperbole.
So it's not a symbol of racism?
Excuse me. It is a symbol of racism.
So why aren't you outraged?
Because it's a free country and there's a First Amendment right in this country to even, wait for it, burn a flag, a right upheld by Justice Scalia, Antonin Scalia. So, sir,
you can hide on the law all you want.
Hiding,
okay,
you as a citizen,
you have a
citizen have an
obligation.
obligation.
Please don't tell me.
You have a citizen have an obligation.
Guys,
that's what outrage is.
You have no idea what citizenship means. That's
how do you dare you?
I dare
how
you
dare
because you don't recognize
I know how to stand up and say what's wrong and right. You don't.
No, what's right for me is
not
what's
protecting
right.
everybody's right to say anything.
Okay,
no matter how much hate and visceral.
Guys, just
a person like you,
just
and
one at a time.
Like position will drive someone who
person like you. You're getting yourself in trouble.
Okay, guys.
Who will drive?
You're getting yourself in trouble. A person like you. Who else is a person like me?
Excuse me.
Okay, guys, one at a time.
Is that Sharpton a person like me?
My philosophy.
In your head?
Okay, wait. Stop, gentlemen. Let's start this over. Wait, Counselor, hold on. Counselor, let me just ask the question. Let me just ask the question. I want to start this over because maybe we got off on the wrong foot.
I think so.
And so, Counselor, you watched the same interview with Reverend Sharpton, and you're not impressed.
Why not impressed by Reverend Sharpton because a person who engages in that sort of hyperbole, who has demonstrated such a lack of credibility over such a long period of time, including serving as an FBI informant he's been outed about that and continues to deny it in the face of overwhelming evidence. That kind of rhetoric that comes from a person like that will push a centrist like me, who is inherently sympathetic to the things he's saying, because of the exaggeration and the lack of credibility. It pushes a guy like me who's in the middle in the opposite direction. So if you really want to gain traction with people like me who can go either way, you'll take a more moderate and reasoned approach. And to say that it's the same way as it was in 1865 with, and wait for it, a black president in the White House.
Who said that?
Excuse me.
Who said that?
You said
Who said that?
the symbolism of the flag.
Who said it's the
is
same as
is
1865?
dragging us
Counselor?
back.
Who said
dragging,
it's the same
dragging,
as 1865?
Listen,
No one.
You're going to have to
No one.
stop
You
gesticulating
you're
at
gonna have
me.
to stop putting words in other people's mouth and lying.
If I'm lying?
When you
Okay,
say,
okay,
yes, that's a lie,
okay, guys.
That would be
Okay,
a lie.
okay. Let's move off of Mr. Sharpton. The funerals will
I don't know
start.
what Al Sharpton has, by the way. We
much
have a
for moving
federal
off him.
system in this country where each of the 50 states, so
Where
long as they
is
ply
your
with
outrage,
the...
sir?
I'm not outraged.
For racism.
I'm not outraged.
What about racism?
I'm not
Okay,
outraged.
okay, but wait.
I'm not
yeah,
out-
Do you think
okay,
racism is
okay,
over?
but wait.
Do you
wait,
think
wait,
I'm
Mr.
not-
Levinson.
let me tell you something.
Wait,
this country?
Counselor.
Do you
think
wait, Counselor.
racism is
Wait,
over?
wait, hold on,
Racism or
Counselor. Are you upset,
anti-Semitism is over
Counselor?
everywhere in the world.
Counselor, are you upset
I
at
have
what
other
happened in
things to
South
say about
Carolina?
Really?
Are you upset at what happened in South Carolina?
Of course I'm upset by it.
Okay,
What does
so,
that have to do with
so
it?
because he's you said we're outraged, he says he's upset about
I'm
it.
That's great to hear.
I'm upset by it. Am I outraged by it? I'm outraged by it, but there are a lot of outrages being perpetrated all over the world every single day. And I'm going to say this right on the air. What happened here is no different from what happened 2 years ago in Toulouse-Lautrec, France, where Islamic terrorists went into a synagogue and massacred Jews.
And,
That
what,
was-
and as a
excuse me,
result,
I'm
you
not
had marches throughout Western
No, you
Europe.
did not.
You
really did
The
not,
fact
because
the fact is you
the,
did.
The killings,
you had a
in
movement,
Europe,
you had a reaction.
Okay,
the killings
gentlemen.
in Europe are
It's
occurring
amazing
to
that
this
you
day.
can stand
To
here
this day.
and say
Gentlemen.
that about France and
Okay.
not
To
stand
this
up
day.
and say
Okay.
it about North Carolina.
Gentlemen, I'm going to need some help in this commercial break because I don't know what I'm going to do with you two. It is time for a break. Coming up next, the Supreme Court just handed President Obama a big victory. We'll talk about the winners and the losers.